The Supreme Court has upheld the federal government's appeal challenging the verdict of the appeal court, which dismissed the charges against Nnamdi Kanu. In upholding the government's appeal, the Supreme Court held that Kanu must face trial at the Federal High Court. The Supreme Court, in judgment delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim but prepared by Justice Garba Lawal, held that the Court of Appeal was wrong to rule that Kanu could not be tried again based on the illegality perpetrated against him by the federal government following the invasion of his home. Also, the court held that although the Nigerian government was reckless and unlawfully rendered Kanu from Kenya, such unlawful act has not divested any court from proceeding with trial. Now, Justice Lawal said no Nigerian law was cited in the suit seeking Kanu's release on the grounds of unlawful abduction from Kenya. According to the court, at the moment, the remedy for such an action is for Kanu to file a civil matter against the act instead of removing the powers of the courts to continue with his trial for alleged criminal charges.
The ruling today was in part disappointing and in part satisfactory. A lot of people might say it's a bit ambiguous, so I'm going to speak very briefly so that I do not preempt what is going to come out of the registry of the court. We are going to probably apply for certified true copies of what the justice stated in court today. But some things that he made clear were as follows: that number one, Nnamdi Kanu was enjoying his bail when his house was invaded, and that was wrong. If you recall, we had obtained a judgment in 2022 at the High Court in Abia State, awarding him 1 billion. So this indirectly affirms that judgment. And that the manner of bringing him into Nigeria was also wrong. But despite all of that, the Supreme Court found cause to send this case back to the Federal High Court. And sending it back to the Federal High Court is actually called remission. And when they remit with instructions. We don't know yet what those instructions are because we don't have certified true copies of the judgment and the judgment order. So in days to come, that will be available and will be made available to the press.
Okay, please, when the judge said yes, appeal and cross appeal, what does it mean?
Well, if government appealed against the discharge granted by the Court of Appeal and we cross appealed, okay, against the stay of execution granted by the Court of Appeal. So these were the issues. But what came out was that the revocation of his bail was wrong. So this, in fact, has created a basis to further seek his release, through some other means.
So the judge is saying that the trial should continue. What does it mean for your team now?
Well, basically, it's going to continue or it's going to proceed in accordance with the instructions the Supreme Court has issued. And those instructions will be clearer when we get them in writing. So the judge or the Federal High Court judge will have to be restricted within those. It's called a remission. So they have to carry out, the Federal High Court has to carry out the strict instructions of the Supreme Court.
Okay, thank you very much.